Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to this best of three between America's finest Dota players and SNA Plus 4 for CEVO Season number 4. My name is Gorgon the Wonder Cow, and I'm joined, as always, by Toffees.
It's good to be here. Glad to be watching this round two game between America's finest Dota players and SNA Plus 4. If you like the cast, head over to Twitter and follow me at Toffees_Dota2 for updates on upcoming matches. But that said, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to see and what we saw in that last game.
All right, so in the last game, SNA Plus 4 picked a very early game, mid-game, stable roster that would roll into the late game with a 4-for-1 strategy, and they executed it perfectly. America's finest Dota players did not take advantage of SNA Plus 4's... They really didn't take advantage of their weaknesses at all. They kind of played into SNA Plus 4's hand. They let their Timbersaw fall behind in levels, and then they tried to 3-on-5, 3-on-4 consistently, found themselves out of position and outnumbered, outmatched, and just lost farm. Did not get the gyrocopter enough time to get back into the game.
Definitely. They had a very hard time. They made some really great plays, AFDP. They showed that they've got the skill to beat SNA Plus 4, but out of the gate, they were just dominant on those lanes. And some really good early plays by IX Mike, as well as that trialing up on top and Bry just locking out that Timbersaw, secured the game, and it really was decided during that first 10 minutes of the laning phase.
Absolutely. America's finest Dota players taking their time thinking about their draft. They did get rid of the Ember Spirit and the Nyx Assassin, so they're worried a little bit about some mobility. They're worried a little bit about some gank. Of course, the Bat Rider comes out for SNA, kind of asserting that fear coming out of AFDP was in good concern. They are going to go ahead and grab the Lion, who's a squishy hero, but also very, very strong counter to Bat Rider. If he's got an itchy trigger finger, he's able to stop the Bat Rider from getting away with that lasso. Also able to nuke the Bat Rider down very, very effectively during the early portions of the game where Bat Rider honestly doesn't have that much health.
Definitely. And they banned out, SNA Plus 4 banned out the Invoker and the Ancient Apparition, both heroes that America's finest Dota players really enjoy using. So I think that's going to be interesting. They're going to have to respond to that. And it is maybe a little bit of respect because last time they let America's finest Dota players have that Invoker, and that Invoker did a pretty good job against them.
Yeah, Invoker... In terms of general execution, I would say that Invoker was probably AFDP's strongest executor, though their supports were pretty stellar too. Their Earthshaker was on top of the game, although I don't think I saw a single strong Echo Slam now that I think about it.
No, he was great with the Fishers, but the Echo Slam not as big. But I think it might just been he didn't have the time to get the some of his mobility devices up to really use that well. But they pick up the Vengeful Spirit to pair off and the Visage for SNA Plus 4. So SNA Plus 4 looking at Flight, while Venge and Lion going with some really strong stun, lockdown, and a good armor reduction to boot.
Yeah, Vengeful Spirit, in addition, is one of these heroes, as a support, who will scale into the late game much stronger than most supports. Lion will fall off, though he starts off so very, very strong. He will eventually kind of fall down as people start to get BKBs up, as the nuke coming out of Finger of Death is not nearly as scary. But Vengeful Spirit's Command Aura, it's Vengeance Aura. I always want to call it by the Dota 1 name. The Command Aura, the Vengeance Aura, excuse me, jeez. Is a percent-based skill, and because of that, it scales into late game extremely potently, not only for Vengeful Spirit, but also for all of Vengeful Spirit's teammates. So we should see, I expect, somebody who comes into the game as a carry a little bit earlier than what we had seen. I don't think we're going to see a Gyrocopter Spectre. I think we're going to see someone more along the lines of a Weaver.
Yeah, except the Weaver's banned out.
The Weaver's banned out, Lifestealer's banned out. Those are the two go-tos for that stage of development for a carry, but I'm trying to think who else we could see. We could see an Alchemist carry. That would be very old school, but it works very well with the Vengeful Spirit. Not only does the hard stun allow VS to be able to set up the Unstable Concoction, but the damage that comes out of the Vengeance Aura on that Alchemist who gets early game farm is extremely potent. We could also see potentially a Razor, someone along those lines. A Lone Druid does very well with the Vengeful Spirit. So...
yeah, I like the Razor. I also think an Ursa could be a fun pickup here.
You said an Earthshaker?
Ursa.
Oh, Ursa. I was like, I guess you could run that Vengeful Spirit as a carry. She does run fairly well as a semi-carry, but not the typical slot that you see her played in, at least not these days.
Yeah, definitely don't think I'd put her in as anything besides a support with the situation that AFDP is in, where they're down a game, and SNA +4 has shown that their skill cap is incredibly high. So they get themselves a Doom, also benefits from that Vengeful Spirit aura, and a good strong pickup. I like his ability to, oh wow, IO. So
All right.
SNA +4, cheeky grab.
We're pulling out some of the moons here as Io is going to
Yeah.
be dropped down. Who's that going to be paired with? Is it going to be? I'm looking at a Tiny. I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe Tiny.
I mean, I think that's obviously the traditional play. I think Tiny's a good pickup for them. However, they could also work very well with that Chaos Knight. But I think with the build, the way that it's going, they control the Bat Rider, and Visage's ability to utilize those familiars as well as his Grave Chill. I think that we see a Tiny here.
I think we see a Tiny. If we don't see a Tiny, I think we see an Ursa. Those are the two.
Mm,
Those are the two that I'm looking at. The Chaos Knight is like the traditional IO combo, but we don't really see that as much anymore. Of course, we don't see IO at all very much anymore.
right.
So
I
could
say
go
I
either
was
way.
sort of fall into the not I don't want to say the bottom tier of supports, but he's definitely not up on top where he used to be. So it'll be fun to see him played again. I do love watching good IO play.
All right, the Juggernaut is going to come out for AFDP. That's another one of those carries that does come into the game fairly early. It is going to be that Tiny, and that's completely predictable. There's nothing that AFDP could have done about that except drafting the Tiny themselves, which would have fit their lineup all right, but obviously is not what they were hoping and expecting to run. So
Yeah, and I think what SNA figured is if they do grab that Tiny, we still have the Ursa option, and they're stuck with a carry that they didn't necessarily want or necessarily know how to play the way that they need to.
now, what's nice about the Tiny in that particular situation, if you're hoping to get it as SNA, is that your go-to in this particular case, like I said, probably going to be an Ursa if Tiny's picked up. Grabbing that Ursa against a Tiny, not the strongest of moves because of craggy exterior. So, America's Finest Dota players, had they grabbed the Tiny, probably would have screwed up at 2 of SNA +4's choices, but there's just a myriad of heroes that pair well with that IO, that you can't really block them all without a ban phase in between. So, Juggernaut is going to come into this game fairly early as a carry, and then he's going to scale into the late game much stronger because of that Vengeful Spirit Vengeance aura, and that's basically along the lines of what we were saying earlier. The Doombringer, very similar boat. Tinker, that's an off-lane Tinker, it looks like, with a... is that going to be a mid-Lion, Juggernaut, Vengeful Spirit, safe lane, and Jungle Doom?
Maybe, yeah. I don't even want to call it because I'm not sure where they're gonna put these right now. Because obviously you're gonna use that Tinker in the off, Jug in the hard carry role, and I don't know. I don't see Doom standing in the mid lane matched up against that Bat Rider.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know. You do sometimes see Doombringer go into the off lane, but I don't expect AFDP to run it that way. So, yeah, I'm expecting Doom jungle, Lion probably mid. Alternatively, you could see the Tinker in the mid, the Doombringer in the off lane, and then an aggressive tri lane. That would actually work out probably the best for them. So that's what I'm going to be hoping for this squad. Because Doombringer doesn't suicide lane particularly well, in my opinion, because of his extremely low armor. He basically takes pure damage from physical attacks throughout the early game until he gets some items up. And you do sometimes see him running that off lane using Devour to try and make sure that he gets a little bit of his farm up. But in a solo safe lane in a one-on-one situation against the Mirana, he could do all right. Though Mirana probably will zone him out. He'll be close to his tower. He'll be all right. The aggressive tri lane with the Juggernaut, the Vengeful Spirit, and the Lion, that's a kill lane. So that's what I'm going to... That's actually... I'm going to change my mind. That's what I expect here, with the mid being the Tinker. And we've got... traditional safe lane coming out of Tiny, IO, VS. Wow. Visage. Mirana in the off lane and Bat Rider in the mid, presumably. And it looks like Bat Rider's going to be in the off lane down here, and Mirana's going to take the mid. So they're going to screw a little bit with the traditional roles of these heroes, but nothing too abnormal. And it looks like we are going to see that aggressive tri lane I called.
Excellent. So, and quick introduction for the Dire. It looks like we've got Chubby, new headset and mouse, playing the Doom for AFDP. Show OT playing the Lion. We're going to have the Bidman at the mid on the Tinker. And then down on the bottom lane, we're going to have Monkey D. Kimmy playing the Venge. And Buka Detainee playing the Juggernaut. So, yes,
right.
aggressive tri-lane. Should be a lot of fun.
For SNA +4, we've got Io being played by SNA himself We've got Bry on the Visage. We have KVH taking Tiny. In the mid, we've got Oosh taking that Mirana, and the off-lane Bat Rider is going to be played by IX Mike himself. Excuse me. So, as we move forward here, the matchups to watch are this one-on-one IX Mike versus this Doombringer at the top. IX Mike has the potential to grab an early first blood. Like I said, the lack of armor coming out here for Doombringer is going to make both the Mirana and the Bat Rider very, very formidable opponents in a one-on-one situation. The bonus damage and slow coming out of that sticky napalm is going to make Doombringer fall back far more often than he'd like to, I expect. The other, obviously, the matchup of note here is going to be that aggressive versus defensive tri-lane as well. A lot can be made or broken for this game based on each team's performance in this try.
Yep, so
and
these
tri-lanes...
Like
we're already going to see Bry moving on Shooty as there is going to be the IO reaction over the cliff. Now SNA has been stunned out by Monkey K. Kimmy. Shooty is going to be stunned out by KVH, and that's going to be first blood. There's going to be an additional Grave Shield going out on the Vengeful Spear. Vengeful Spear taking some damage. The leash, or the tether is there. One more auto attack. Tiny's going to grab himself a double kill to open up. And now Taney running through the tether. He's also going to be Grave Shield. He is taking a lot of damage here. There is going to be one more auto attack, and there is no soul assumption there. Still level 1? Yes, still level 1. Did not get quite enough kills to level himself up and grab that soul assumption.
So still, though, 2 early kills in the river. Great out of SNA for starting.
Oh, dear. Up in the top lane. Doombringer able to harass down IX Mike a fair amount and then getting overconfident and getting himself into a bad position. IX Mike turning around on him when he already had 5 stacks of sticky napalm and was greedily charging in on IX Mike. IX Mike turned around, popped the Firefly, got around the opposite side, and just auto-attacked him down. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Doombringer up against that Bat Rider is an extremely difficult matchup, and he cannot afford to get himself into an overconfident situation. Bidman taking a lot of damage as well, and the creeps are actually taking the tower, allowing Oosh to come in and get Bidman all the way down to about 150 health.
Yeah, speaking of not wanting to give something up, I mean, essentially, AFDP is in the worst possible situation they could imagine coming out here. 3 deaths before the 2-minute mark after coming off of that last game has got to be a huge blow to their confidence.
Oh, yeah, especially considering they have a kill lane here. Double stun, fairly reliable, alongside that Blade Fury. In any situation, you would expect that to be, oh, yeah, they'll get first blood with even the remotest sort of execution. But Shouty got caught out in the river and kind of caused a trickle in engagement that has really given up the advantage. There's going to be the Avalanche followed by the Tether Stun. There's the Soul Assumption. That's going to be 1 kill. There's Blade Fury going off on KVH doing a fair amount of damage, but Buko Love Taney not really able to sustain that fight and is forced to back out before the Blade Fury is over, giving another kill away of SNA +4 in this try-on-try.
Yeah, it's actually been phenomenal tether play by Tiny IO. They have been using the slow to the fullest of its advantage, which I expect from players of their level, and it has caused all kinds of havoc over on the side of AFDP. AFDP maybe a little bit of a younger team, possibly not as much experience against this IO Tiny combo since it isn't really in vogue all that often, and it's not something that you ever really see in pubs.
Well, you know, I remember casting AFDP through CEVO Season 3, so they were at least in through there, obviously, because they're in the main now, which means they've earned their way up, being one of the top contenders in the open. And they were around during the peak of the IO craze, so they should have some idea of how to handle them. But at the moment, more so than using that tether to full advantage, in terms of its slow, they're using the mobility that comes out of it to allow SNA to get all over the map.
Yeah.
To its full advantage. He jumped from high ground to low ground with it. There's going to be a toss, and Io's actually going to pick it up with the Wisps. So,
yeah.
Io getting another kill here, and it looks like Cubby might be getting himself in a little bit of trouble as IX Mike chases him down. That lack of armor really starting to hurt. As Cubby, he has the Unholy Aura trying to heal himself back up. He is also going to go ahead and need a Tango, but he's got 4 stacks. It's going to be 5. He uses the wand. Some more auto attacks going out. IX Mike does not have the mana for any additional stacks after this one, but he's got enough there in order to grab that kill, and he's going to go ahead and use the already active Firefly to try and get out of tower range. He manages to grab himself a bunch of last hits, in addition, getting away with 49 health and a kill.
Yeah, that's 6-1 with a 2,000 gold advantage going the way of SNF4 already in this game. So that is a pretty rough statistic at 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, looking at some of our items, SNA +4, not really getting anything out here. Bat Rider gets a bottle up. Tinker has a bottle up. A lot of hoarding of gold going on by these teams, though. Current gold, Batrider obviously going for the Blink Dagger, already more than halfway there due to the 2 kills and his very successful lane. IO sitting on top of 1,000 gold, so that's presumably going to be going into, well, a mechanism is what I would expect, but yeah, he's got the two iron branches, so. And he's actually doing a very, very nicely executed triple pull with stack. So he's going to get some levels up very quickly while allowing KVH to do some fairly safe farming down here.
Yeah. So far play has been very, very strong. Out of SNA +4, they've just been executing what they wanted to execute and doing it the way that they set out to do it. And AFDP is really finding themselves on the back foot here.
There's going to be another move here down in the bottom as the Soul Assumption goes out and secures that kill on the Vengeful Spirit. Now Buko Levtani is forced to retreat. Very nice Avalanche Toss combination alongside the Grave Chill and the Soul Assumption. That was enough to auto-nuke down that VS. She had absolutely no choice. Once that Avalanche hit, she just did not have any hope. And here up in the top, that Doombringer's being caught out again. He's actually going to be lassoed and pulled back into the tether. And he's got 3 stacks up on him. Shooty trying to come in and help him out. Throwing out a stun, mentioning to grab both, but there's going to be the Flame Break pushing him back. The Moonlight Shadow going out will not be really that necessary as the Doombringer does go down. IX Mike still at just about full health thanks to the very stellar play and healing coming out of SNA. Meanwhile, Tinker gets an invisibility rune. And I'm not 100% sure why that Moonlight Shadow went out. Maybe to protect the bottom while I wasn't looking, because it was not really necessary. They were charging into a tower there. So
yeah, KVH got himself a little bit low down on the bottom. But, I mean, to be really honest, like that play by SNA was exquisite. Came in, kept the heals up, did a good job of supporting IX Mike, and I made sure he got that kill.
Shooty just doing the straight-up bulwark charge. Does not care, just runs down the lane. Gives it away, actually runs right over ward as well, and they are not going to be able to secure a kill on that. They're sitting at 1-8 for AFDP, and they started with the aggressive tri-lane, which means they are down on experience as well. Even without the farming deficit and the kill deficit, they would be down on experience. They're now down about 3,500 in both terms, gold and experience.
And it's actually starting to snowball a little bit. At the 4-minute and 20-second mark, so it's just about 4.5, they were at 2,000 to the advantage, and now at 7, they're at 4,000. So they're actually picking up gold advantage a lot faster than they were earlier. Batrider just got his Blink Dagger.
We're literally looking at almost 1,000 gold a minute so far for this game. SNA +4. Absolutely dominating AFDP. In the last game, there was a lot of back and forth, and it ended up becoming a bit of a steamroll situation, but AFDP put up a really good fight. Right now, it's becoming increasingly difficult to imagine AFDP coming away from this with a win. Not only are they up against a Tiny, who is going to be able to DPS and push, probably, in my estimation, his combination of push and damage per second and survivability makes him... He's got to be in the top 4 hardest carries in the game, along with a Gyrocopter, a Lone Druid, and maybe a Phantom Lancer, something along those lines. Like, he's definitely up there in terms of the hardest late game carries available. And he's executing extremely well in the early as well.
I was saying Asian Fail over in the Twitch chat just listed all the MMR for SNA +4.
All right, SNA +4, if you do want to know their general MMRs, go ahead and fly over to the Twitch chat. As we do see Monkey D. Kimmy goes down, there's going to be a very, very nice call of the March of the Machines there by Bidman. Will that secure a kill? It will not, as SNA is able to get away, as is the Mirana. So that's going to be a 2-for-0 trade. And Batrider walking away.
He literally barely got out of that. His Firefly got him up onto the high ground with about 47 health left in his pocket. So very nice escape by him. And
down in the bottom, Juggernaut trying to farm out, figuring, hey, a lot of action's going mid. Maybe I'll be safe here. Nope. No safety for you. 11-1. And they are just starting to throw themselves at the treads here. Trying to slow down the machines of SNA +4 by burying heroes underneath the wheels. And I do not know that is really the approach to be taking. As soon as everyone spawned, they just teleported mid and just charged out. And the Moonlight Shadow negated any efficacy of that strategy. Now they just got 4 heroes standing around mid, holding their junk and feeling like fools.
Yeah. It is, I mean, that gold chart is just starting to, like, actually pick up more and more steam. Getting bigger and bigger a lot faster. So they're at about 7,500 gold to the advantage, and the XP is starting to get out of control as well. If we look at that net worth chart, I mean, look at that. 4 of the top heroes are all Three of the top four are on the side of SNA with significant farm, and Tinker the only one who's even slightly trying to keep up.
Yeah, this is becoming increasingly difficult for AFTP to even probably keep their morale up. They aren't in any position to be pushing towers. They're way behind in terms of farm and experience. And they are playing against a, once again, arguably later game team. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we could be seeing an early GG call if something radical does not happen very, very soon. We're talking a team wipe of SNA +4.
Yeah.
As Tinker is starting to do a fairly decent job. He manages to grab himself that IO and is trying to farm out these Ancients. Oosh is going to come in and make him pay for it, though. Throwing out some auto attacks. The Visage Familiar is coming in. 1 stun, 2 stun, red stun, blue stun as Bidman is able to back out here.
And they just send him back. I mean, they don't need to force that kill right now. They are so far ahead, especially in terms of levels. If you take a look at that level list, Tinker is keeping up, but everyone else on AFDP is falling off to the point where the last support on the side of SNA4 is about to pass Doom for his experience count.
All right, so Doom is going to be taken down here by Ice Mike, followed by the IO relocate. And remember, it's worth noting that all of this great IO play has been coming out without relocate. That's the first relocate I've seen. He's only level 7. So they're having this much trouble before relocate hit the map. There's going to be a very nice toss. SNA following in, giving some vision, pulling the Wisps in, doing a little bit of the squeeze box maneuver with them, in and out, in and out. Unable to secure that kill on the Juggernaut, but is able to force Unero back. And Bidman finally has his boots of travel up. That will be tremendously useful, but the problem is, having that Tinker up against the IO's going to be able to react to extremely quickly if he wants to.
Yeah, IX Mike also did just get his boots of travel up as well, so that is worth noting. And that is going to be pretty bad for them since he does also have the Blink Dagger. So he's going to be kind of all over and causing a lot of issues in this match from here on out.
Here comes the Blade Fury in the bottom. SNA just out of range. KVH now taking a little bit of damage. As Bidman comes in, he throws out the laser. There's going to be the Omni Slash. KVH down to about 250 health. The Satyr does miss, or the Satyr Ball does miss coming out from the Doombringer. Ice Mike now coming in, thinking about re-engaging. He's throwing out a couple of sticky napalms. He's throwing up the Firefly, cutting down all the trees. Nice use of Flame Break to cancel out Bidman's teleport. There's going to be a great avalanche catching too. Monkey D. Kimmy now in a little bit of trouble. He is going to go and throw out the stun on SNA, but Ice Mike coming up behind him. SNA is going to go ahead and use the leash, the tether coming up, and then the Blink Dagger to get out of the tower range. That's a 3-0. 15-2 for SNA +4, and I've got to say I haven't seen a stomp like this since I was in the staff league.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And up on top, it's worth noting Marana picked off the Lion as well in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is just becoming painful.
Yeah.
This is literally not quite as bad, but it is on par with the game that the Join Dota editorial played up against GD Studios, which was no kills, all deaths all day long. And I'm having Vietnam-style flashbacks, and they just keep throwing themselves under the machine.
How many minutes are we into this game right now?
About 13. As
13
2 more
minutes.
heroes, 3 more heroes drop. Buko Lovetani is going to go down as well. I certainly got to say, AFDP making sure that all the spectators are getting their money's worth out of the items. Throwing themselves in for multi-kill after multi-kill. More meat in the grinder.
That gold advantage is about to pass 12,000, by the way.
Yeah, so we are still looking at about 1,000 gold a minute. Almost the same for experience a minute at 13 minutes,
right.
And that is the last of the tier 1s.
And I'm used to seeing that 10,000 mark pass at some point. You know, once the tier 2 towers start to go down, 22 minutes into the game. But at 13, SNA +4 show it, in my opinion, why they are competitors and possibly favorites in CEVO-Main, as well as, in my opinion, favorites to pick up some sponsorship and really start to represent themselves in some of these larger North American tournaments.
Yeah, I don't know. It's worth noting here that AFDP is not a slouch team.
No.
They're in the CEVO-Main because they performed very well throughout CEVO. I believe they were CEVO-Main last season too. And before that, they were probably CEVO Open for season 2. And performed extremely well then as well. Well enough to earn themselves a reliable spot in CEVO-Main, which is an invitational portion of our league. So this is not like it's SNA +4 just going into a pub and stomping.
No, I cover them a lot, and they in the semi-pro scene are considered one of the top teams in the scene right now. So to see this happening really is a testament to how strong SNA plus 4 has become with this new team lineup.
Yeah, and they are just going to teleport in and immediately get rid of that Tinker. There's no place safe, and SNA plus 4 making sure they've got good vision up here of the Ancients with this ward. And they are actually going to move in. Very nice arrow. Buko Loftani also going to go down. We're looking at 21-2, folks. And this is making no signs of a turnaround. The Ghanums has been up on the Tiny for a little while now. We've got Blink Dagger Treads, Mask of Madness, or Blink Dagger Travs, excuse me, Madness on IX Mike. Tiny has 1,500 gold on top of his Ghanums. Even the Marana's got Phase Boot, Drums, Treads, Aquila, and 1,400 gold to her name. And there's going to be the GG.
So that was a very fast game, but honestly, wow, 1,000 gold per minute. That was difficult for AFDB.
Yeah, that's got to hurt the pride a little bit, but they are going to be moving forward through the rest of CEVO-Main. I think that they have coming up a couple of matches against some lesser-known main teams, and right now they are sitting at a notable negative game streak, but hopefully in the coming weeks they'll be able to make sure that they shake it off, go up against some of the other teams they're going up against with some pride and with some game sense, and come out ahead. Maybe they'll be able to come up against SNA plus 4 again throughout after the qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, looking honestly, SNA plus 4, this is a team made up of players who are exclusively in the 5.5 or right next to that MMR bracket. So these are players that are not to be trifled with, and they show why they are so highly ranked right now in this game today.
Absolutely. So, for CEVO, my name is Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can catch me casting over at Twitter on the Got Cow Dota, at Got Cow Dota, if you want updates on my casting. And, of course, we also have CEVO season tickets there in the DOTA2 store if you do want to be able to grab items off these games and keep up with all of the Dota action casted by both myself and Toffees and our other very, very capable casting squads. And, of course, you can make sure you stop by both twitch.tv/PlayCEVO1 and twitch.tv/PlayCEVO2, which has a match going on right now, and hit the follow button to keep up with all of your Play CEVO action. And I'm joined by Toffees.
It's great to be here. If you like the cast, head over to @Toffees_Dota2 and hit the follow button so you know what's going on. I will be around tomorrow night for TECS, and I think Gorgon may join me. He may not. Hopefully he'll be a surprise. But that said, once this match is done, head over, like he said, to Play CEVO2. We got a huge match going there. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
All right, well, for CEVO, this is Gorgon signing out. Thanks for tuning in.